What happens when a nation grows weary of the U.S. economic system? African countries are repatriating the gold and money held in the USA and returning it to their countries. This could pose a significant threat to the U.S. economy. Is there a way to stop it? 3 nations have made this decision, and many European countries have done the same. This puts the U.S. in a precarious situation. But why are African nations taking this step? Let's find out. A notable and consequential trend has emerged recently as several African countries have had to repatriate their gold and foreign reserves from the USA. This move, led by nations such as Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon, marks a significant shift in global financial dynamics and reflects a broader realignment in geopolitical relationships. The importance of this development cannot be understated. For African countries, bringing these reserves back home is not merely a financial action, but a powerful statement of economic sovereignty and self-determination. It signals a growing mistrust in the stability and security of storing assets in the USA, particularly in light of recent geopolitical events and financial disruptions. But why was this step taken? What's the context? The recent trend of African countries repatriating their gold and foreign reserves from the USA is set ahead of significant geopolitical shifts and financial uncertainties. This move is not an isolated incident but part of a broader global pattern influenced by geopolitical tensions, economic instability, and a reevaluation of trust in major financial institutions. In the past few years, the global geopolitical landscape has changed dramatically, with increasing tensions between major powers and a series of financial disruptions shaking confidence in traditional safe havens. One pivotal event that has influenced this trend is the economic sanctions imposed on Russia following its invasion of Ukraine. The seizure of Russia's sovereign wealth funds by Western countries has been a wake-up call for many nations, prompting them to reconsider the safety of their assets held abroad, particularly in the USA. This incident highlighted the potential vulnerability of foreign reserves stored in a country to political leverage or sanctions. For many African nations, the possibility that their assets could be frozen or seized due to geopolitical tension is a risk they are no longer willing to take. This has driven a reassessment of where and how to store national wealth, leading to bringing assets back home. While the mainstream media often focuses on the larger, more apparent geopolitical events, numerous significant developments tend to go unnoticed but have substantial implications. For instance, the financial crises in various parts of the world and increasing debt levels in developed and developing countries have led to a volatile economic environment. Countries with large reserves abroad are particularly concerned about the stability and reliability of these funds amidst such instability. Moreover, there has been a growing movement towards economic nationalism and self-reliance. Countries increasingly look inward, striving to build resilient domestic economies that are less dependent on external forces. This shift is partly a reaction to the unpredictable nature of global markets and the desire to insulate national economies from external shocks. Repatriating gold and foreign reserves is a step towards this economic self-sufficiency for African countries. Let's talk about the actions taken by the African nations. What has Nigeria done? With approximately $32.15 billion in foreign reserves, Nigeria has taken significant steps towards repatriation. This move is driven by several factors, including concerns over the long-term security of its assets and a desire to bolster its economic sovereignty. The decision is also influenced by Nigeria's ongoing efforts to stabilize its currency and manage its financial resources more effectively. By restoring its reserves, Nigeria aims to reduce its exposure to international financial risks and gain greater control over its economic future. This move also strengthens the country's financial infrastructure and builds public confidence in the domestic economy. Now comes Ghana. With around $9.9 billion in foreign reserves, Ghana has similarly decided to repatriate its assets. By holding its reserves domestically, Ghana hopes to use these funds more effectively to support economic growth and development initiatives. And what about Cameroon's actions? With approximately $3.5 billion in foreign reserves, Cameroon has joined Nigeria and Ghana in the repatriation effort. Repatriating reserves is also a strategic move for Cameroon to build financial stability and public trust in the government's economic management. By holding reserves domestically, Cameroon can better respond to economic challenges and leverage its financial resources to promote national development. What is Africa's overall trend? Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon's actions reflect a broader trend across Africa. Other countries are watching these developments closely and want to follow suit. This collective movement towards repatriation is part of a larger shift towards economic sovereignty and regional cooperation. African nations are increasingly collaborating on economic initiatives, such as the African Continental Free Trade Area (AfCFTA), which aims to create a single market for goods and services across the continent. By repatriating reserves, African countries are better positioned to support these regional initiatives and build a more integrated and resilient African economy. There are multiple reasons behind this action. Each nation has different reasons, but what are the mutual reasons? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The decision of African countries to repatriate their gold and foreign reserves from the USA is driven by a complex interplay of economic, political, and security considerations. These motivations reflect a growing desire among African nations to assert greater control over their financial resources and reduce dependence on external actors. Understanding the underlying reasons behind this trend is essential for comprehending its significance and potential long-term implications. At the heart of the repatriation movement lie economic considerations. African countries like Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon recognize the importance of safeguarding their financial assets to promote economic stability and sustainable development. By repatriating their reserves, these nations aim to mitigate the risks of storing assets abroad, such as exposure to currency fluctuations and geopolitical tensions. Moreover, repatriation allows African countries to diversify their investment portfolios and allocate resources more effectively to support domestic development priorities. By holding reserves domestically, nations can mobilize these funds to finance infrastructure projects, stimulate economic growth, and address pressing social needs, thus contributing to long-term prosperity and resilience. Political and security considerations also influence the decision. Like many others worldwide, African nations are increasingly wary of the potential risks associated with storing assets in foreign jurisdictions. Recent geopolitical tensions and financial disruptions have heightened concerns about the security and stability of assets abroad, prompting countries to reassess their financial dependencies. For African governments, repatriating reserves represents a proactive measure to protect national wealth and assert sovereignty over financial resources. These nations seek to minimize external vulnerabilities by bringing assets back home and ensure their economic futures remain firmly within control. This move is not just about economic pragmatism, but also about asserting independence and autonomy on the global stage. Beyond its practical implications, repatriation carries significant symbolic weight. For African countries, bringing assets home represents a powerful assertion of economic sovereignty and self-determination. It sends a clear message to the international community that these nations can manage their financial affairs independently and are no longer willing to rely on external actors for their economic well-being. Moreover, repatriation serves as a tangible expression of confidence in domestic institutions and faith in the future trajectory of African economies. It demonstrates a willingness to confront historical legacies of economic exploitation and assert agency in shaping a more equitable and prosperous future. Repatriation is as much about reclaiming control over national wealth as it is about reclaiming dignity and self-worth. And what would be the global impact? One of the most immediate repercussions of African countries' repatriation efforts is the impact on the reputation of the U.S. financial system as a haven for foreign assets. Historically, the USA has been viewed as a stable and reliable destination for storing reserves, attracting governments and central banks worldwide. However, the decision of African nations to bring their assets back home signals a loss of confidence in the security and stability of the U.S. financial infrastructure. This erosion of trust could significantly affect the U.S. dollar's status as the world's primary reserve currency. If more countries follow suit and repatriate their reserves, it could diminish the demand for U.S. dollars in global markets, potentially weakening its value and undermining its role as a global reserve currency. This, in turn, could have ripple effects across the global economy, impacting trade, investment, and financial stability. The repatriation trend also reflects broader shifts in geopolitical dynamics and the distribution of global power. African countries' decision to assert greater control over their financial resources signals a desire to reduce dependence on traditional Western powers and diversify their economic relationships. This move aligns with a broader trend of multipolarity in international relations, with emerging economies seeking to assert themselves globally. Moreover, the repatriation trend could lead to re-evaluating existing alliances and partnerships as African nations seek to strengthen ties with countries that offer greater economic opportunities and strategic advantages. This could result in new geopolitical alignments and regional cooperation frameworks, reshaping the geopolitical landscape in Africa and beyond. African countries' repatriation of gold and foreign reserves could also significantly affect global financial markets. The withdrawal of assets from the USA could increase volatility in international markets as investors react to the shifting distribution of financial resources. This could impact asset prices, exchange rates, and interest rates, potentially leading to disruptions in global economic activity. Moreover, the repatriation trend could accelerate the process of de-dollarization as countries seek to reduce their reliance on the US dollar in international trade and finance. This could lead to a diversification of reserve currencies and the emergence of alternative financial systems, challenging the dominance of the US dollar and reshaping the global monetary landscape. Now the question is, how would financial institutions respond to this? The repatriation trend poses challenges for global financial institutions, which must adapt to their member countries' changing preferences and priorities. Institutions such as the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the World Bank may need to reconsider their lending policies and investment strategies to accommodate the evolving needs of African nations and other emerging economies. Moreover, the repatriation trend could increase competition among financial centers as countries vie to attract foreign reserves and investment. This could result in a redistribution of financial power and influence, with new players emerging as key global finance hubs. But has it ever happened before? Is there a case study? The repatriation of gold and foreign reserves by African countries from the USA is not an isolated phenomenon. Several other nations have undertaken similar actions in recent years, reflecting a broader trend of reassessing financial dependencies and asserting greater control over national wealth. Examining case studies of these countries provides valuable insights into the motivations, challenges, and implications of repatriation efforts. Venezuela provides a compelling case study of repatriation driven by economic instability and political tensions. In 2011, the Venezuelan government announced its intention to repatriate gold reserves held in foreign banks, citing concerns about the safety and security of these assets. This decision was influenced by rising political tensions with Western powers and a desire to assert greater control over the country's financial resources. However, the repatriation process faced numerous challenges, including logistical hurdles and legal disputes with foreign banks. Despite these challenges, Venezuela repatriated a significant portion of its gold reserves, signaling a commitment to economic sovereignty and independence. The Venezuelan experience highlights the importance of political stability and effective governance in facilitating repatriation efforts. It also underscores the role of external factors, such as geopolitical tensions, in shaping countries' decisions to bring assets back home. Several European countries have also undertaken repatriation efforts in response to financial uncertainty and geopolitical tensions. In recent years, countries like the Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria have announced plans to repatriate gold reserves from foreign vaults, including those in the USA. These actions reflect concerns about the stability of the international financial system and a desire to reduce dependence on foreign institutions. Repatriation is a prudent risk management strategy for European countries to safeguard national wealth in an increasingly volatile global environment. The European experience highlights the importance of diversification and risk mitigation in managing national reserves. It also underscores the role of public sentiment and political pressure in driving repatriation decisions, particularly in economic uncertainty and geopolitical instability. Argentina provides another instructive case study of repatriation driven by financial disruptions and economic challenges. In recent years, Argentina has faced significant economic volatility, including currency devaluation and debt crises, prompting the government to reassess its financial strategy. In 2012, Argentina announced plans to repatriate a portion of its gold reserves from the USA, citing concerns about the safety and security of these assets. This decision was influenced by a desire to strengthen the country's financial position and reduce exposure to external risks. The Argentine experience underscores the importance of proactive risk management and strategic planning in navigating economic challenges. It also highlights the role of political will and leadership in driving repatriation efforts, particularly amid external pressures and uncertainties. So, what lesson can be learned from this? The case studies of Venezuela, European countries, and Argentina offer valuable lessons for African nations embarking on repatriation efforts. These examples demonstrate the importance of political stability, effective governance, and proactive risk management in facilitating successful repatriation. Moreover, they highlight the need for careful planning, coordination, and communication to overcome logistical challenges and legal obstacles. Repatriation is not a straightforward process and requires careful consideration of various factors, including economic conditions, geopolitical dynamics, and domestic priorities. Furthermore, these countries' experiences highlight the broader implications of repatriation for global finance and international relations. As more countries assert greater control over their financial resources, the balance of power in the global financial system is likely to shift, reshaping the dynamics of economic cooperation and competition. Now the question is, what challenges will African nations face? African countries undertaking repatriation will face external pressures from foreign governments, financial institutions, or other stakeholders with vested interests in maintaining the status quo. These pressures could manifest in various forms, including economic sanctions, financial penalties, or diplomatic isolation, aimed at dissuading African nations from repatriating their assets. African countries must demonstrate resilience, resolve, and unity in pursuing their repatriation objectives to withstand external pressures. Building strong alliances with like-minded countries, diversifying economic relationships, and reducing dependence on external actors can help African nations assert greater autonomy and sovereignty over their financial resources. Another challenge associated with repatriation is the potential impact on currency markets and financial stability. The sudden influx of repatriated assets could pressure domestic currencies, leading to exchange rate volatility or inflationary pressures. Moreover, repatriation could disrupt international financial markets, affecting asset prices, interest rates, and investor confidence. To mitigate currency and market risks, African countries must adopt prudent financial management strategies, including careful timing and phasing of repatriation efforts, diversification of reserves, and coordination with monetary authorities to ensure smooth market operations. Additionally, enhancing transparency and communication with market participants can help mitigate uncertainty and build confidence in the stability of domestic currencies and financial markets. As African countries repatriate their assets from the USA, they will likely diversify their reserve holdings to reduce risk and maximize returns. This trend towards diversification may involve reallocating assets across different asset classes, including equities, bonds, real estate, and commodities, to optimize portfolio performance and enhance financial resilience. Moreover, African countries may explore opportunities for strategic investments in sectors critical to long-term economic development, such as infrastructure, renewable energy, and technology. By diversifying their reserve holdings and investing in high-impact projects, African countries can strengthen their economic foundations and create sustainable sources of growth and prosperity. As we look to the future, African countries and the international community must collaborate to support and facilitate repatriation efforts. This requires a concerted effort to address the root causes of economic inequality, promote inclusive growth, and create an enabling environment for economic empowerment and self-determination. Moreover, it requires a commitment to upholding the principles of sovereignty, solidarity, and mutual respect in international relations, fostering a more equitable and just world order. Lastly, is Africa headed toward success after repatriating its reserves from the U.S.? With the recent decision to repatriate gold and foreign reserves from the U.S., Africa is heading toward success. This bold move signals a strategic shift towards economic sovereignty, resilience, and self-reliance, setting the stage for numerous positive outcomes. Here are several reasons why this decision is propelling Africa towards success. Repatriating reserves is a strong assertion of economic independence. African countries take control of their economic destiny by bringing financial assets back home. This move reduces dependency on foreign financial systems and enhances national security regarding their reserves. By holding reserves domestically, African nations invest in their financial infrastructure. This decision can boost confidence in local banking and financial institutions, encouraging citizens and businesses to engage with domestic financial systems and stimulating economic growth. This move can foster stronger regional financial cooperation. As countries like Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon bring their reserves back, they will collaborate on creating a more integrated and resilient financial system within Africa. Also, by diversifying away from reliance on foreign financial hubs, African countries are better insulated from global financial shocks. The instability in global markets, as seen in recent years, highlights the risks of holding significant reserves abroad. Repatriation mitigates these risks, contributing to greater economic stability. Repatriated reserves can be strategically invested in critical infrastructure, healthcare, education, and technology sectors. These investments are essential for sustainable development and can drive long-term economic growth. Enhanced infrastructure and better services will improve citizens' quality of life and attract further investments. So, African countries' decision to repatriate their reserves from the U.S. is a significant step toward economic success. It enhances economic sovereignty, strengthens financial systems, promotes domestic investments, and mitigates global financial risks. By taking control of their financial resources, African nations are better positioned to drive sustainable development, foster innovation, and build a prosperous future. This strategic move indicates that Africa is on the path to greater economic success and resilience. Do you think African nations are making the right decision? What would happen if more nations stepped in? Let us know in the comment section. Can the US trick the African nations into not running? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.